Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday, the 17th RTA session. Hey, Timo, how you doing? Raj, what's up? What a choppy Globex. Really choppy. Sellers all over the place. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, we have no lack of sellers. Sellers here, sellers here, sellers here, sellers here. Now, that's interesting. And I'm going to take you on a little journey in the past. What's up, Spill? So yesterday we had a short squeeze, plain and simple, right? Which allowed wholesalers to take this product and sell it up here. Yesterday at the close, what did I say? I said at the close, look for downward. Now that's precisely what we got. Now I don't usually call out markets, but yesterday there was something very obvious that happened. Good morning, folks on YouTube, Marshall, Digital, right? Couple of things. One was contract rollover. Okay. And that plus short squeeze. Remember that song from the 80s, Things That Make You Go, hmm? Well, there were a lot of people who have been short this market in the old contract. They've left footprints, right? Gap, gap, right? So those are the obvious short positions, right? So yesterday was a nice short squeeze to squeeze people into the new contract, get them to cover the old one, which causes buying in the new one, of course, right? And then now that short squeeze is over. Okay? That's why overnight inventory is what? 99% short, 98% short? Check it out. Look at how much volume and time has been spent underneath the close. Pretty much the whole session. So we're expecting this on the open. But every time it gets over 65, every time it gets up to 71, it gets heavy, right? Somebody is just coming in there and hammering it. Okay? So what does that tell you? Tells you there's a seller. not just one seller, right? There are heavy sellers, large sellers, size sellers. And guess what? They're competing, which means they're not letting the thing breathe. Every time it gets up over 60, 66, somebody comes along and hits it on the head. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about? It's like somebody's holding it down, but not on purpose. They're holding it down because they've got product to sell. And they're all competing to get the buyers, right? So it's pretty clear on that chart. Now, how do we trade this? Well, there have been a couple of decent trades in Globex. My balance zone is 62 quarter to 67 at 3/4. Double it to the downside to 51 quarter, and then the 4 times discount zone is 60.29. Right? Yeah, they've been like the seller at 60.70. You can see, and you don't have to be a TPO genius to figure this out. And I remember a couple of days ago, I've had all sorts of people ask me about all sorts of fancy things to use to figure out where the sellers are. The simplest thing is just to look at the tops of the candles. That's where the sellers initiate, and that's where they compete and price goes down. So when you see constant sellers, right, your trade is short, right? There's no, if they're not going to let it over 70, why don't you sell? Because say All Right sells at 70, Raj goes and sells 69, Hank goes 68, right? Jam goes 67. How about I join them? That's your short. That's the backside of the move, right? Where the sellers show their faces and show that they need to lower price, right? And that really helps you because what you're going to do, like in the old days, we used to say, can I sell alongside? So the chart is telling you that the sellers are engaging, that they're actively lowering price. So what you do is you sell alongside them, right? You don't have the product to push price down. But what you can do is once it gets under 67 3/4, you hit that short at 67, 66 half, you put your stop here at 68. Okay? Because that's your backup. If that seller goes away, your ultimate out will be 69.5. If that seller goes away, you're in trouble because they're what pushing price down. You can't push price down. So you short 66, 67, whatever, put your stop here, and then you look for the next little area of position. The natural target will be 62.25, right? This is a look above and fail. The target is the bottom of balance at 60, 62.25. And VWAP's right there, so you might want to cover a little bit before. Right? And that's a nice way to short because you've identified that sellers are active. There's no reason shorting a market when there's no one selling anything, putting anything on sale. Right? You don't want to short that. Short the back end. Short the back end of the move. Do you guys understand the difference between the front end and the back end of a move? It'll make your life a lot easier. Okay. So let's see. The way this thing is acting right now, I'm not seeing any bids. You don't know what the front end and the back end of a move is? Here, let me show you, LJ. This is a move up. This is the front end. This is the back. No problem. So when a stock or anything does that, people get caught short on this end of the move. This end of the move is for large size traders to sell their goods. So what happens is this provides the liquidity for large traders to get out. This tells you that those traders or the market has to put the product on sale to capture the buying. Like say you go to Walmart, and then there's Target, and then there's Best Buy, and they all have the same TV for sale at a certain price, right? Say it's $1,000. Well, Walmart will go, yeah, you know what? We got competition. Let's put this thing on for $900. Now Target has to go and lower their price or match Walmart's price, and so does Best Buy. Does that make sense? So say a new brand of TV comes out that's better, and for $1,000 it's like 100 times better. You know how electronics are, right? Now they're going to have to discount that TV to maybe 800, right? Maybe they paid 400 for the TVs. Maybe they paid 300, right? Walmart has large economy of scale. So that price competition, that's what you see in this chart. That's this end of the move, the back end of the move. Does that make sense? See, you folks, there are people who need to sell large positions, right? Now, and that's what we teach you in our room at the Trading Syndicate. We teach you the business of the market so you don't end up trading this garbage, right? This is what people who don't know when to trade, they come in, they trade this, and they lose money because it's just choppy back and forth. We teach you how to trade this move. We teach you how to trade this move, right? From the edges of a zone in, not when it's doing nothing, right? So speaking of the Trading Syndicate, please drop by, like and subscribe to this video, and come by our room at the Trading Syndicate. What we like to do is we like to trade with you and teach. I'm there all day. We also have other teachers and traders. You know, we've got a guy for commodities who's ex-Goldman Sachs. Really knows his stuff. It's going to be about 50 cents a day if you use that code with 25% off. And the other nice thing about it is we'll teach you how to trade prop accounts, right? Those funded trader accounts with our friends at Apex. Their discount code is in the description at the bottom, right? And I promise you, after a month with us, you'll actually have practical information that you can use to make money. Not a bunch of highfalutin talk and not a bunch of verbose gobbledygook about things that will never make you any money, right? We take everything we know and we make practical instructions so you guys can make good business decisions. How do you determine what range to use? Great question, Big Iron. What we do is we use a concept called balance, which is two-sided trade, right? And if you come into our room, I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you a quick way of doing it now. What you do is you look for a high, right? A high and a low, right? And when we can't get past that low, that high, we go right back to that low. And it's that back and forth action, right? We look above that high, we come right back to that low. Once you see stuff like that, and we train you how to draw these zones out, it's really simple, right? So we're using highs and lows, and when we break above that high, it goes right back to that low. No tick charts, no indicators, nothing. All you need is a 1 minute chart, the ability to follow instructions, and the ability to listen. You don't need any kind of special charts. You don't need any kind of special indicators. Why? Because before 1995, nobody had any kind of charts. So how did people trade markets for hundreds of years using a piece of paper, a pencil, and the price given every 15 minutes? Right? Whatever you use, we can figure out a way. All you need to do is learn the business, and it's very simple. It's not easy, and it takes practice, but it's simple. Right? It's a business that involves the movement of inventory. That's what a market is, right? A market is a place where people bring stuff to sell. Here we are selling ES contracts. This chart is a sales chart of ES contracts minute by minute. So from the sales chart, we know where the buyers go, oh, that's too high. Ooh, this is a good deal. They come rushing in. Right? That's all it is. It's just a sales chart. Don't let anybody tell you any different. None of this stuff is random. There's a wholesale element that trades size, right? And they either discount price or they raise price if they see a bunch of people lining up, right? It's not rocket science, right? We teach every day in our room. I do one-on-one mentoring as well for people who want to accelerate their trading, and it's a lifetime course. So everything that we do, you have to get practical benefit from, right? We don't say, oh, just put on the trade and maybe it'll work. There has to be a business reason to take the trade and a business reason to stay in it, right? What thread in Discord? Just go to the JJ Live ES room, and I'll be there with all the rest of the other folks. Right? So the object of this whole business is to distribute inventory, right? He who sells the most he can at the highest prices he can, or she, for the longest that they can, wins. Right? And also, he or she who has the lowest cost basis is king. Now, cost basis is something that all of you should know. Right? You buy one share of stock at $1, another share at $2. Right? What's your cost basis? Hi, Agatha. What makes you say that there is a margin call volume or price? Because you once said price doesn't matter. I'm not sure, Agatha, what that question means. I know that if you open outside the previous day range, you'll get some margin selling. Is that what you mean? Yes, Jeannie. So your cost basis is one and a half on 2 shares, right? Here they're establishing a cost basis. So trades off the open. What are we going to look for? We're going to open on a gap, right? We're going to open outside yesterday's range. What does that mean? Right? Yesterday's low is here at 66 and a quarter. Opening underneath it means there's a change in business from yesterday. Prices are being discounted. Does that discount bring in buyers or more sellers? So let's go through and take a look here, right? If we have the cost basis underneath us, there should be a move at least up like it's doing now, up to VWAP to get rid of some of this inventory. Okay? If you're long off the open or pre-open, your lower stop is 56, then 54. Right? If we start getting underneath 57 and you're long, you're in trouble. Okay? Now we should get some kind of rotation higher. Right? As we get up to VWAP now, we have 8 minutes before the open. What would be good is to take this little position and sell it here for profit. So we're going to open on a gap. Do we fill the gap? We'll see. Right? You know, I picked some up at 60 3/4. I sold one at 60 1/4. I'm going to try and sell one at 60 1/2. And once again, I'm just scalping, right? And my stop is right here under this candle. Now, if this thing doesn't get back over 62 1/4 and offer over 62 1/4, I'm going to start hitting the bid, right? Because my trade, I should have been long here instead of here, right? I should have been long lower. I screwed around and I got a late entry. And that's just bad discipline, right? I should have been long here and I should have been selling into there. Right? So I sold another one at 61 1/4 and I've got 2 left. And I'll just hit the bid at 61 1/2 on the one. And the other one I'll leave offered at 62 and see if I can get out of it. Now I'm flat. So instead of going long here with my stop down here, I kind of screwed up and I went long a little late. Right? I went long right where before they were going to sell into it. So now it's going to rotate back down. Gem, what does that mean? What kind of what kind of language is that? Is that like some Middle English thing or like? Okay. Oh, that's right. You haven't had coffee. That's right. You haven't had your coffee. I get it. I get it. Oh man. Oh. It's a yo. I don't know what that is. Is that from one of those kids' cartoons? Because my pop culture is not that good. Star Wars. That was like 1977. How am I expected to remember that? It's a long time ago, man. All right, here we are. We're creeping higher. Oh. Single prints, yes, Chris. The single prints here, there is a chunk of supply up here. It's just that we're so far away, I haven't had a chance to talk about them yet. All right, let's see if we have those sellers at 64. right? It's slowly creeping its way up. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Now, what are the things that short sellers need to be careful of today? If you're short and you see this creepy, slow price action, and a lot of people in trading rooms will go, oh my God, the market looks weak. It looks heavy. It looks like it's going to fall apart. But if the market starts getting above all the levels where I have marked sellers, even if it doesn't look pretty while doing so, right? If it does, it's going higher, okay? How they've gotten a lot of people trapped lately, right, is that dull tape sucks people in to shorting, right? It gets people every single time. Don't I noticed that you are doing that, Howard, but that's okay. Just now you understand it, right? So take that and put it aside for a little bit. I would spend 90% of your energy, Howard, on watching the offer when it does a look below and fail. If you can pay attention to that, you know that the POC moves down for accumulation and distribution, right? Make sense? That's now just take it and put it away, right? Don't play with it too much. So if we open here right now at 62 and a quarter or 62 and three quarters, we'll open on a gap. Do we fill the gap? To fill the gap, we'd have to trade at 66 half. See what happens, Howard, as you learn a new feature of market profile or any kind of thing in trading, when you learn something new, you kind of grab onto it and hold onto it like a life preserver, right? Because you think that's going to change everything. And that's not just you, right? That's me. I've done that. Guilty as charged, right? Somebody says, I remember when they came out with tick, and they not came out when they told me about tick and breath. I was all over that stuff. Now I don't even look at it, right? But I thought it would change everything. But it's not that. It's putting all that stuff together, right? Is it morning for me? No, it is 2:30 in the afternoon for me, Billy. This is the rotation that I was looking for, right? So those people who are positioned here, right now, Howard, that POC moves up, a little bit of distribution. Now let's see if we can take that POC and move it up higher, right? Let's see. Let's watch the gap fill if we get a gap fill. Hey, Sandy, bonjour. See, Howard, now the POC moved up again. More distribution. Yeah. Thanks for the reminder, Aubrey. We have a Fed meeting tomorrow, so just nice, calm, back and forth day. We should get some nice, calm trades off of that, right? Gap is filled. I tried to buy 67 and a half, and I did not get it. Nice move off the open. Really nice move off the open. Now we're going to backfill that move. Let's see if it holds the previous day low. Looking for bids at 66.5, 67. There they are. Target 71 3/4. On the log side, past that, next target is 74. I'm looking for a test of 66. Long 67, flat 69. Right, if you're long off the previous day low, there are sellers at 69. Let's just remember that. There we go. Now I want to see if it tags it. A lot of people will trade off that previous day low, long 66 at 1/4, and sell those 68s. Not bad little scalps, right? Nothing wrong with that. See, there's a seller there. You can see right there. Now let's see if it holds that A low at 62. Remember, there's still splitting volume between the two contracts, right? So the new contract has 389, the old one 269. Let's see, that 68 seller. Let's see if they let us breathe. Nope, not yet. Now, if you're unclear about a trade, just wait until we get to go long. Wait until we get over 69.5. And if you're shorting, be aware that, as you come into VWAP, there's going to be bids. And that's why you're getting that VWAP bid. That's the front run of VWAP right there. Right? This is front running VWAP. Oh, it's choppy. I don't trade in the middle, so I'm just waiting. Oh boy, chop fest. Hey Nick, I anchor my VWAP at the 6 p.m. Globex Open every day. So that's 11 p.m. in the UK, 6 p.m. Eastern. So I use 23. I use session VWAP, just one VWAP for the whole session. There's a tag of VWAP. Man, this thing is trading. There are sellers, more sellers than I expected. That's very good to know. So if you're a look below and fail trader, cool your jets. I don't use the upper and lower VWAP bands. I used to use them to get out of a trade. Like, so if I was long, say 65, Chris, and we got up to that first standard deviation, I'd start selling there. But ever since I started using the tops of the candles, I don't really need to use them. So what I do is I'll draw VWAP and then I'll go and I'll get rid of it. Just as long as I know where it is. See? It's much clearer, right? Well, it's just tied to the indicator, you see? Look, now they're there. So I go and I set VWAP and then I go hide them and now they're gone. See? I just had them on there because I was too lazy to take them off. I forgot. Remember, the less stuff on the chart, the better. The cleaner the chart, the better. So those of you who are long the 64s, up to 67 and 3/4 is your target. If you got them, sell them, right? Sell into the strength. Do not wait for an invitation to sell. 64, 65 longs. It's okay to keep a runner, but I wouldn't in a choppy market. I'm out. Thank you. So I just bought a few here. Stop was here. As soon as it got up here, I'm letting them have it. If it wants to go higher, it can go higher without me. Nice. Right? It'll go higher, that's fine. Expect sellers at 69 and a half. You know, it's like my old client, this old Italian guy that I used to trade for. It was like, listen, kid, don't get greedy. A million here, a million there. It adds up. Wins add up. How big was my stop? Well, I was long 64.5 to 65 on 4 contracts. My stop was under just here. So it's a little choppier than usual today, John, so I used a bit of a wider stop. Um, there's a dollar amount that I try and capture. If if my brain is working, I have a certain like dollar amount that I like to make. Now I don't always get there, right? Sometimes I'll make half of it and then I'll start making bad mistakes or slipping and I'll stop trading. The one thing is I do have a 10% rule. As soon as I make a little bit of money, once I start taking 2 or 3 bad trades, I'll stop because I'm obviously off the rhythm or I'm missing something. Oh, there's the liquidation. Yeah, I'm cheap. I'm really cheap when it comes to giving out money. Um, because I know that the market's there tomorrow, tonight. There's plenty of opportunity, right? When you've done as much trading as I have, I used to have those Rubbermaid storage bins full of trade confirmations. If any of you guys are old enough to know what a trade confirmation is, it's a slip of paper a brokerage firm sends you when you do a trade. In the old days, it says you bought, we sold, or we sold, you bought. Every trade, you get a little slip of paper in an envelope. I have 30 Rubbermaid bins full of trade confirmations from 1999 to about 2006. So that's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of trades that I've taken when I was trading for clients, trading my own accounts, getting rid of stock, right? Because when you run a deal, you have 20 or 30 accounts that you're trading in between, right? And sometimes you're working multiple deals, so sometimes you'll be working 6 different stocks, trading 20 or 30 accounts for each stock for the insiders. So you get a lot of trade confirms. So I'm never worried about one trade, which has really helped me to get out of bad trades quickly. Because there's always another one coming. And when you've lived it, it's a little different. Now, there's nothing wrong with holding on for trades longer and maxing out your stuff, but it all depends on your experience and your focus and concentration, right? Like I've been trading for 33 years. Sometimes I have the attention span of a drunk grasshopper, and I just can't concentrate. So I won't trade heavy, or I'll scalp micro. And if I take 3 stop outs in a row, Aubrey, sometimes I'll lose like 50, $60 and stop trading because I'll go, oh crap, I'm really undisciplined, or if I'm slow, or sometimes the caffeine just doesn't work at my age. So I'll go do something else, maybe go and try and get some oxygen to the brain and then come back. I'm convinced that the longer you stay in front of the screen, the more money you give back. I've rarely seen traders stay in front of the screen for long periods of time and keep making and compounding and making. That's a very different breed of cat. Oh, those levels come from, sorry, they come from this chart. There's the 71 and 3/4, 65 and 3/4. I do use them. The really thick levels like 65 and 3/4, that's from 5 years ago. Yeah, I've never suffered FOMO. Yeah, for me, Aubrey, definitely. I sort of I look at retail trading like being a thief. Get in, steal the money, and get the hell out before they cut your hands off. Right? Prominent overnight POC to see attraction at that price? No, I would say that once it gets to that price, there's going to be some selling. I've never understood this magnet thing. People say, oh yeah, big chunk of volume's a magnet. Well, on the way down, it's just a cost basis. It's not a magnet. That's good, Laura. So someone was saying, do you use the same thing to identify buyers as you do sellers? Don't worry about the buyers. Just concentrate on the sellers. The sellers will identify. The sellers will want to identify the buyers for you. No, Etienne. Nobody wants to test anything in markets. Right? Do you understand, Etienne, when you take a trade, it's a financial transaction. So if you want to buy 1,000,000 shares of stock or sell 1,000,000 shares of stock, there is a way to do it, and you give that order to an executing trader, and they're going to work that order. As those orders get worked, they will leave footprints, and that's where things like the POC come into play. Nobody wants to go out and deliberately test a POC. They're too busy. They don't even know what the hell a POC is. Right? All that stuff's not used. On a trade desk, we use VWAP and we use the order flow. And how much inventory do we have? Right? Can we get rid of our inventory above VWAP for any kind of profit? Or do we have to mark it down and sell it? Remember, HN, it's a market. Right? Nobody wants to play or test. Game theory, all that stuff. That's meaningless. I got 1,000,000 shares to sell. I got to create a market to sell those 1,000,000 shares into. Right? I want to buy 1,000,000 shares. I want to buy 1,000,000 shares of stock without moving the price higher. Right? That is the order flow that gets created that you and I trade. That's why I talk about these things. Because the agenda of the wholesale traders, when customers come into their store, that's order flow, that creates price movement that we try and make money off of. And that's really all trading is. Right? So if you know the wholesalers are selling actively at 67 and they stop selling at 62, when the market looks below 62 and comes back up, you buy a little bit, you put your stop there, and then you sell 66, 67. Right? If you like the short, when the market looks above and fails 67 and 3/4, you short, stop, cover. Right? You trade the rotations from the outside in, from the outside in, from the outside in. That's all there is to it. It's simple. Right? And that's really what we teach in our trading room is the simplicity. Right? So the worst thing, bless them, but market profile traders come up with all sorts of overcomplicated theories. But none of them will make you money. It sounds really like they'll say things like unfinished business and all sorts of stuff, but how do you profit from it? Where do you put your trade? What is the business reason for the trade? See, remember I told you, 62 to 67 long, right? That's practical, right? And it's simple. That's what I'm waiting for, right? I'm waiting for inventory to correct. It is not corrected at all, right? For it to correct, we at least have to tag the close up here at 91. So let's see what happens. We're still in the first 25 minutes of the market. Oh, it's a log A period. Whew. This chop is making me thirsty. Now sometimes, because of the order flow, the customers coming in, inventory takes longer to correct than it usually does. Right? Aren't you tired, Leslie? It's only been 25 minutes and I'm pooped. Yikes. Yeah, I know. I think I need to update my references. Maybe go see some of those Star Wars movies or all that crap. I remember when I started this trading group, was it 5 years ago with Steve? People would talk about FOMO. I thought it was a stock symbol. So I'm like entering FOMO in the level 2. Like, what the hell are these guys talking about? FOMO. The hell is that? What kind of weird public company is that? The Office? I've never watched that. Oh my goodness. This is about as choppy as we can be. That's the problem with this kind of price action. It puts you to sleep and then you get a move, right? That's what I was thinking, Aubrey. I think it would be a great ticker. I don't think it's reserved. Somebody check. We'll track down a shell. FOMO. What could the business be? Some sort of AI mumbo jumbo. Can I keep it at an RSI for 6 months? Hell yeah. That's not 90 RSI is no problem. I can hold a stock. We'll trade at X clearing Aubrey. We'll keep all the stock in a desk drawer somewhere in. Let's see. Liechtenstein? Yeah, how about that? YOLO? That was another one I thought was a stock. YOLO. Then I thought it was a drink, like Yoo-hoo. Oh, well. Whoa, see? That's exactly what I was looking at, right? Look at that. It lulls us to sleep, and then you get drop a big green candle. This box is distribution. Pure distribution. It's taking all that inventory from 66, getting rid of it above 66 to 71. See, I was waiting for that candle. I didn't know which way it was going to go, though. But that's, like anyone who has like kids or who's ever babysat kids and it gets really quiet, they're up to something. That's like when the price action goes really quiet. You're like, okay, what do you buggers got planned now? Right? A poor low in the overnight, yes, sir, it is. Right? Yes, indeed, that is a poor low in the overnight. Good catch. And thanks for reminding us about that. I posted that in the room when it happened. Down here, there's a poor low, which means buying competition. Right? Which means not all our friendly neighborhood short sellers have covered yet. Okay, come on. Let's go. Gosh. Raj, this price action is like going to Waitrose on a Monday morning. Or M&S when you have to battle all the old folks. They keep running over your feet with their shopping carts. There isn't one up here. There's no Asda here. Oh my goodness. Come on, market, do something. Let's get go. It is Tuesday. It's not frickin' Saturday. Get to work. Come on. Round up some buyers and take this thing up to 74. Come on. A poor low is a market profile reference. If I squished it together like that, do you see there's just one little letter by itself? I'll make it bigger. Hang on. That's what they call a poor low. So if you had a double bottom like that, or one little letter by itself, there, now it's moving, right? That's called a poor low. That means buying competition, which means don't short. There, finally up to 74, 75. Oh, we're talking about grocery stores in the UK, GD. And welcome to the room. There you go, Etienne. This is your correction to overnight inventory, right? It's moving slow, right? It's moving slow, but it's creeping. Yeah, you're probably in North America, so. No, it's not obvious on a candle wax chart right off the get-go, unfortunately. So if you looked at the prior half an hour candle and it was one tick, let's say higher than your low on the candle, then you'd know it's a poor low. Now we're back down. Let's see if we can stay inside yesterday's range. It's a bit choppy, Etienne, to be fair, right? And soon it'll get better as that most of the volume rolls into the new contract. It's been a couple of strange days. Yesterday with the short squeeze, today with all this choppy short covering, right? And also we have a Fed meeting tomorrow, right? So it's really like nobody's going to put a lot of money to work right before a Fed meeting, right? I've done a couple of scalps today. Nothing really worth writing home about. The one good thing I was able to do in Globex was to take a trade, get stopped out, and then use that information to take two winning trades afterwards. Which I found that's a very difficult thing to do in trading is learn from getting stopped out, not getting rattled, and being able to focus and use that information. That's been quite a journey. And it doesn't work all the time. Sometimes, you know, even you have the best intentions and you're not in the zone or something rattles you or something distracts you. The one thing I find about this business is that if you lose concentration, right, it's very hard. Like if you lose concentration, you should be able to identify that you've lost concentration and then not execute until you get it back. Ah, okay, Nick, those levels, it's a bit of a long-winded speech. So the 60, 65, and three-quarter level come from 27.49 to 28.10 or 29.10 back in March of 2020. And then I kept doubling them. And 60, 65, and three-quarters is one of those levels. 60.71 and 3/4 is a more intermediate or short-term level. So if you look, Nick, you're brand new. If you look on the videos on how I determine my levels, it'll go through. I have like long-term levels, medium term, and then the short-term ones that I do every morning. The concept in business is the same. The time frame is different. And why they're important is because the levels help us track the accumulation and distribution of inventory, whether on a 5-year chart or a 2-month chart, right? Yeah. And why they're important is because they help you manage your outlook and identify inventory. See you later. Have a good one. Nice work with the pool heater. That's a very MacGyver thing to do. Going up to 60.71 and 3/4. Ugh, a little tongue-tied there. Here we go. Retirement, eh? Just tinker in your backyard and build stuff. It was. 67 was a good level. Look below and fail of that 68. Oof. Not great heaps of follow through yet. It's a little choppy, eh? Yes, on the 5 minute. That's okay. Choppy, slow markets, they are helpful because they teach us. You can sit and watch and learn quite a bit from watching them. Now, I know it's not what everybody wants to hear. Everybody wants to make 30, 40, 50 points a day, but sometimes you got to sit and learn. Ten micro is a mini. The micro is a great instrument for learning because you can't do too much damage, right? Well, hopefully you're not supposed to. The other thing is it's also great for testing something. If you want to try something out and test it, test a setup. We're looking for 60.77 as our next target. Nice work, Jam. There you go. Well done. Well done. Guys in the coaching class, no PA lab today, okay? We'll do one tomorrow. I got to run out to the doctor's, just so you guys know. I always start the day scalping the micro. just to kind of, it's like warming up, like when you go to the gym, you warm up with like the bar and then you put 245s on, then you put another 245s on, right? You don't go and try and bench 300 pounds cold, right? You like to warm up a little bit. Thanks, Jeff. Just more checking. Well, I can't bench 300 anymore. I need to work up to that again. See, we're creeping. Remember what I told you earlier this morning, folks, about that creeping price action? And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, how many people do you think are short underneath 60, 65? We're going to find out soon when C period opens. This is that creepy, crawly price action. There it is. There's 77. Next set of stops will be at 79 and 3/4. Right? So we took that one. Next one's going to be here. Right? These are single prints. These are supply single prints. So if we truly run out of supply, we're going to go into that red box. And then we'll double this. So there'll be 4 of these. Let's see what happens. There should be sellers coming out of the bushes somewhere here. If there aren't, it means that they've seen buyers and they're going to raise price on you. Overnight high? Yeah. 93 half. Now let's see. See how it stopped short right before the single prints? That's where the supply is. Now they'll sell into it and backfill. As we backfill, this little red 1 minute candle is going to show us where the bid is. I suspect somewhere around 75. Oh, that's a nice trade, dollar man. Look above and fail of the Globex high. That'd be a nice trade. Yeah, I'd buy that for $1. See, now we're creeping into those singles. There's supply up there, so it's not going to shoot right through this red box, but it's creeping, and then they sell into it. Right? Just because it looks weak doesn't mean it necessarily is because it's moving slowly. Right? If you're doing a look above and fail of 78 and 3/4, 79 and a half is your stop, and you'd be looking for bids around 74. I mean, if you're shorting the backfill, scalping. Can't seem to get under 77 right now. That's a problem if you're short. Yeah, it was thin on the way down, wasn't it, Raj? Oh, there's a print under 77. Not for long. Yeah, that's what I was just saying, Joshy, right? So if you're short here, your stop's just there. And then you're looking for bids here and here, right? If the market starts offering over 78 and three quarters, 79, there's no reason for you to be in the trade. Yeah, so this is where you would be short. There's your stop. And you see the offers lifting now. Not very helpful for a short seller, right? If it's really choppy at an edge, I let the large traders work the edge out. Right now, John, there's no reason. No, no, no. Remember, you're practicing the look below and fail 1,000 times. Still doing the reps. Oh my goodness. It's taking its time, isn't it? It's a slow morning in Walmart, folks. It's a slow morning in Walmart. There we go. And that's where you'd be covering. You guys see that? Be say looking for bids here. Single prints are these. It's another market profile thing, right? So that is shorting the backfill. There you go. The next place that you want to look for bids is right here, where we took the high of A. Shorts will be stuck under here. So there'll be buy orders here. So Anton and others were wondering what things like single prints, how I come up with these levels, right? And how you make money trading them, how do you manage your risk? Come give us a visit at the Trading Syndicate. You know, a little plug for the room once again. Use that code for 25% off. Right? We'll teach you practical trading skills that you can use every day. Right? It's a nice community of traders. And also, if you want to learn how to use funded trader accounts like Apex, there is a discount code in the description. We don't charge much. And if those of you if anyone is interested in lifetime one-on-one mentoring, please reach out. I'm happy to do a 1 hour session with you if you're serious about it and go over your trading needs and show you some things. So just reach out to me. No, you don't need profile charts at all. Anton, all you need is a 1 minute candle chart, the ability to draw a straight line, and the ability to listen. That's all you need. No fancy software, no indicators, no nothing. We teach you to trade based on the business. It's the best way to learn how to trade because then you actually know and you have a reason for taking a trade and you understand what the reason for the trade is. It's not built on some indicator that is a black box you don't know or some sort of, you know, what somebody else says. We explain to you the business reason for taking the trade. This helps you from taking bad trades. It helps you from trading at the wrong time. Yeah, now it's so by looking at the 1 minute chart, can anybody tell me where where the shorts are trapped? Right here, where the bids are. Exactly. Yeah. That's the freshest. That's the fresh meat shorts. Then the other ones are trapped here. Right? Why? Because they stop selling every time. And like I was telling Lear earlier, if you make believe that this is a glass door, and when the sellers see all the shorts lined up to get in, they raise price. If they see these people walking to their cars, they lower price and they capture the buying. Right? Remember in those bazaars? Wait, my friend, come back. Don't walk out of the store. I'll give you a better price. That's what's happening now. That's exactly what it is, S-Pill. Moran, sure. Just tell me when. Yeah, DM me, Moran, when you want to do a one-on-one. I always like to wait for confirmation to take the trade truth. I don't like to front run it. I used to. It never worked. Every time I try and predict that they'd be, just go buy it here, now I have to wait for proof. I gotta wait for confirmation, and confirmation is like here. This is a look below, right? Here's the look below. Here's the fail. So you're long, wherever you can get it, right? Your stop is underneath that level, and you sell into the strength created by a lack of supply, right? And that's a good question, Espill. Can they take it through 89? Right? It all depends on the order flow. Do we have enough people coming into Walmart that can justify us raising prices? Or do we have to sell our inventory where it is right now? Yeah, there's a lot of different agendas in play. That's why, Raj, don't think about them. Right? Stick to that 1 minute candle chart. Hey, mahalo, Cisco. I'm never very good at predicting. I'll wait for the chart to tell me. You know, I just rather wait for the chart to tell me. You think when I leave we'll get a breakout? Maybe, huh? Do I only scalp? Lately, I've only been scalping. I haven't had time to put positions together because I'm working on other projects. I like to hold trades longer if the market is agreeable. Anton? All right, folks. Well, there's a little short position for you here. Oh, that'll probably fill. But distribution of this stuff here, up here. Now let's see if we can move that POC up, Howard. Thanks, everyone. Have a great trading day. Reach out if you need me. We're at thetradingsyndicate.org. I'm vwaptrader1 on X. And please reach out if you need help. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye for now.